Let me ask you a question. Most doctors never consider, could the very fruits you're eating be quietly determining whether your muscles stay strong past 60 or slowly fade away into weakness? See, we've been told for years that sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, is just a natural part of getting older. But what if I told you that is simply not true, and that certain fruits contain powerful bioactive nutrients that can switch muscle-building genes back on, lower inflammation, and even reverse sarcopenia naturally? Muscle is not just about strength or vanity. It is a metabolic organ controlling your blood sugar, burning fat around the clock, circulating energy to your brain, and even storing powerful anti-aging compounds like glutamine. Losing muscle is like losing a critical bank account inside your body, and once that account goes bankrupt, everything else follows. Fatigue, brain fog, insulin resistance, fatty liver, weight gain, and even higher risk of falls and fractures. Here's what most people over 60 get wrong. They focus on protein shakes, heavy gym workouts, or expensive supplements, but totally ignore the nutritional signals coming from their everyday food, especially fruits, that can either help or hurt their muscle health. That's right. Not all fruits are created equal. Some spike your insulin, block fatty acid oxidation, and make sarcopenia worse, while others are loaded with natural enzymes, antioxidants, and plant compounds that literally send a repair signal to your muscle fibers, helping your body regenerate new tissue, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. In today's video, I'm going to break down the 6 most scientifically powerful fruits for rebuilding muscle after 60 and show you exactly when, how, and how much to eat them to trigger muscle growth without protein powders or medications. We'll dive into how they support your mitochondria, your muscle power plants, how they influence insulin sensitivity, and even how they reduce the cortisol stress chemistry, destroying your lean tissue. Here's the exciting part. You don't need to change your entire diet. You just need to make smarter fruit choices, understanding how each fruit impacts your metabolic engine. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which fruits to bring into your kitchen and which ones to retire permanently if you want to stay strong, mobile, and independent well into your 90s. So stay with me, because over the next few minutes, you're going to learn why most healthy fruits can secretly sabotage muscle regeneration after 60, which 6 fruits are clinically shown to protect muscle fibers and fight sarcopenia, precise eating protocols, timing, and combinations to get maximum benefit. Let's dive into the science. The first fruit I want you to consider is one most people think of as a simple summer snack. Yet it contains some of the most muscle-protective polyphenols in nature: dark-colored berries, particularly blueberries, blackberries, and elderberries. Now, what's fascinating about these fruits is not their vitamin C or sugar content. It's a group of compounds called anthocyanins, which act like microscopic bodyguards for your muscle fibers. Here sits what's really going on inside your body. Once we cross 60, our muscles become highly sensitive to a process called oxidative stress. Think of it like rust, slowly corroding a metal pipe. When your mitochondria, the power plants inside your muscle cells, generate energy, they also release tiny sparks called free radicals. When free radicals build up faster than your body can neutralize them, they begin to damage muscle proteins, weaken the contractile fibers responsible for strength, and accelerate sarcopenia. Anthocyanin-rich berries act like a built-in fire extinguisher, neutralizing these sparks before they can damage tissue. But here's the kicker. Research from the Journal of Applied Physiology shows that older adults who consumed blueberries daily experienced a 45% increase in muscle stem cell activation, meaning their muscles repaired and grew faster after activity, even with minimal exercise. That's dramatically more powerful than any protein powder. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your muscles are like a brick building. Over time, the brick's muscle fibers get weathered and cracked. Protein provides more bricks, but if the construction crew, your repair signals, is asleep, nothing gets rebuilt. Anthocyanins are like the whistle that wakes up the construction crew. They don't supply the building blocks, but they activate the entire repair process inside your muscle. So how do you use berries strategically to rebuild muscle? Here sits the protocol I recommend to my private patients. Timing. Have one small bowl, half 1 cup of mixed dark berries after your most active part of the day, usually late morning or early afternoon. That's when your insulin sensitivity is higher, meaning your muscles are most receptive to absorbing nutrients instead of storing them as fat. Pairing, combine the berries with a healthy fat like chia seeds, Greek yogurt, or a spoon of almond butter. This slows down the sugar absorption, avoids an insulin spike, and allows the anthocyanins to work gradually inside your tissue. Frequency 4 to 5 days per week is enough to trigger the muscle protective benefits based on clinical trials showing improvements in muscle mass and function over just 8 to 10 weeks. One important note: avoid dried or canned berries, which often have added sugars and have lost over 60% of their polyphenol content through heat processing. Frozen berries are perfectly fine. In fact, they often contain higher anthocyanin levels than fresh-picked berries due to flash freezing. Now, you might be thinking, do berries alone really make that big a difference? Here's what the research shows. When older adults incorporated dark berries along with light bodyweight movements, like chair squats or wall push-ups, they were able to reverse muscle loss and gain lean mass, even if their total protein intake didn't change. That's because muscle health is not just about how much protein you eat. It's about whether your internal signaling pathways say, yes, let's actually grow. If you found this helpful so far and want more science-backed ways to defend your muscles naturally, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day to help you stay strong, lean, and energized without relying on medication. Here's the key takeaway for Fruit Hash 1. Berries are not just an antioxidant snack. They are a metabolic tool to protect and rebuild your muscles at the cellular level. Use them strategically, timing, pairing, and consistency to flip your muscle-building signals back on, even if you've struggled with weakness or wasting in the past. The second fruit on our list isn't famous for muscle. It's usually talked about for brain health. But what most people don't realize is that this fruit actually fires up the mitochondria inside your muscle tissue itself, helping you produce more strength, stamina, and energy at any age. I'm talking about the humble avocado. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, is avocado even a fruit? Yes, botanically it is, and a powerful one. Unlike sweet fruits, avocado is rich in monounsaturated fats, potassium, and L-carnitine. And that trio creates a perfect storm for reversing sarcopenia at the cellular power plant level. Here sits what's really going on in your muscles. As we get older, our mitochondria, the tiny generators that power every muscle contraction, start to die off or become sluggish. This creates a situation called mitochondrial dysfunction, where your muscles feel weak, you fatigue quickly, and you struggle to rebuild even when you eat protein. What the research shows is that nutrients like oleic acid, the primary fat in avocado, and L-carnitine are capable of flipping on a pathway called PGC-mitoLELA, which triggers something called mitochondrial biogenesis, literally building new mitochondria inside aging muscle cells. Think of your muscle like a factory. Over time, some of the machines, your mitochondria, slow down and stop working. Avocado acts like a maintenance engineer, turning old machines back on, and even installing new ones. That means more ATP, your muscle fuel, and more strength, even without heavy workouts. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Imagine your muscles are like a car engine. Protein is the gas, but if the engine doesn't fire properly, the car still won't move. Avocado helps repair and rebuild the engine itself, so that the fuel you already have starts working again. Here sits how to use avocado strategically as a muscle rebuilding fruit after 60. Portion half medium avocado per day is enough to significantly improve muscle mitochondrial function, according to a 2021 study from the journal Nutrients. Time of day: eat it in your first meal, ideally after a 12 to 14 hour overnight fast. This is when the body's autophagy and repair programs are highest. The healthy fats will feed your mitochondria at the perfect moment to support regeneration. Combine with squeeze fresh lemon on top, or pair with leafy greens like arugula and spinach. The vitamin C and nitrates improve nitric oxide production, which increases blood flow to your muscles so more nutrients actually get delivered. What about those worried about the fat? Avocado fat is insulin neutral. That means it does not trigger a blood sugar spike and therefore does not shut down your fat-burning or muscle-building hormonal environment. In fact, the oleic acid in avocado helps lower chronic inflammation and supports healthier levels of IGF-1, a hormone essential for preserving muscle mass. Quick tip: if you struggle with cravings at night or find yourself losing muscle and gaining belly fat, avocado in your first meal keeps your ghrelin and leptin, your hunger hormones, balanced for the next 6-8 hours, helping stabilize energy and prevent cravings for sugary snacks that sabotage your muscle. Here's the key takeaway for Fruit Hash 2. Avocado is not just a weight loss superfood. It is a mitochondrial medicine for your muscles. It restores the engine so everything else you do, whether it's walking, light strength training, or eating protein, actually becomes effective again. If you're finding this practical so far, feel free to subscribe, because I break down tools like this every day to help you stay stronger, leaner, and sharper naturally. The third fruit on our list targets perhaps the biggest hidden enemy of muscle after 60 insulin resistance. When your cells stop responding properly to insulin, all the nutrients you eat, even protein, end up getting diverted into fat storage instead of muscle repair. That's why so many people feel like they're eating healthy, yet still losing strength and tone. The fruit that can help reverse this internal traffic jam? Grapefruit, specifically the ruby red variety. What makes grapefruit so powerful is not the vitamin C. Although that plays a role, it's a naturally occurring compound called naringenin, which research shows can dramatically improve insulin sensitivity, especially in the muscle tissue of older adults. That's what's really going on inside your body. Every time you eat, insulin acts like a key, unlocking your muscle cells, so glucose and amino acids can enter and be used for repair. But because of chronic stress, high cortisol, and years of elevated blood sugar, the lock starts getting rusty, so the key no longer works. Nutrients remain trapped in the bloodstream and are rerouted into belly fat while your muscles starve. Naringenin works like a WD-40 spray, de-rusting the lock, so insulin can once again open the door. In fact, a study published in the journal Metabolism found that naringenin improved muscle insulin sensitivity by up to 42%, allowing the body to divert nutrients into muscle rather than fat storage. Let me explain this with a quick whiteboard analogy. Think of your muscles as a warehouse. Insulin is the delivery truck. Normally, it pulls up and drops off supplies. But if the docking bay is closed, the truck moves on to a different warehouse, your fat cells. Grapefruit reopens that docking bay, ensuring the supply's nutrients actually reach the muscle. Here sits how to use grapefruit strategically. Timing: eat half of a ruby red grapefruit at least 20 to 30 minutes before your first meal of the day. Doing it on an empty stomach triggers a metabolic response that helps set the stage for more efficient insulin signaling throughout the day. Frequency: 5 to 6 mornings per week. Pair with a glass of room temperature water or green tea. The hydration further improves insulin receptor function and keeps the liver, your metabolic gatekeeper, flushed and active. Important note: if you are on certain medications, especially statins or blood pressure drugs, check with your doctor first, as grapefruit can interfere with drug metabolism in the liver's cytochrome P450 enzyme system. What if you can't tolerate the bitterness? A simple trick is to sprinkle a pinch of Himalayan salt on the grapefruit. This reduces the perception of bitterness and enhances mineral absorption. You can also segment it into a salad with cucumber and mint for a fresher, more enjoyable taste without adding sugar. Now, here sits why this matters specifically for muscle health. Better insulin sensitivity means that after you eat protein or perform light resistance exercise, your body can actually push amino acids into your muscle cells to trigger growth. Without that sensitivity, even a perfect diet won't result in muscle gain, because the delivery truck keeps missing your real target. What the research shows is that older adults who added grapefruit to their diet without changing anything else significantly improved muscle strength and dropped visceral fat over 12 weeks. That's the power of targeting the root cause instead of just treating symptoms. So remember the key takeaway for fruit hash. 3 grapefruit is not just a weight loss fruit. It's a powerful metabolic primer that helps your body use the nutrients you're already eating to build muscle, instead of store fat. The 4th fruit on our list is often associated with tropical vacations, yet very few people realize it can dramatically enhance protein absorption and therefore accelerate muscle regeneration after 60. I'm talking about pineapple, specifically ripe golden pineapple, rich in a powerful digestive enzyme called bromelain. Here sits what's really going on inside your body. As we age, our production of stomach acid and digestive enzymes naturally starts to decline. That means even if you're eating protein, eggs, chicken, fish, beans, your body may not be breaking it down efficiently. Undigested protein simply ferments in the gut, causing bloating, inflammation, and worst of all, it never reaches your muscles where it's needed for repair. In other words, you're feeding your stomach, but your muscle remains starved. Enter bromelain. This enzyme acts like a pair of molecular scissors, cutting long, complicated protein strands into smaller amino acids so your intestines can actually absorb them. Research published in the Journal of Medicinal Food reveals that bromelain can boost protein absorption by up to 40% in older adults, meaning the salmon you ate for supper finally makes it into your bloodstream and reaches your muscles to spark rebuilding. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Imagine you're trying to fit large wooden logs into a small fireplace. They simply won't fit. Bromelain acts like a chainsaw, cutting those logs into smaller pieces so they slide in easily and burn efficiently. That's exactly how it helps your body fit dietary protein into your muscle-building machinery. Heurists, how to use pineapple strategically to fight sarcopenia. Portion half to 1 cup of fresh, ripe pineapple. Look for a golden shell and strong sweet smell. Not canned pineapple is usually heated, destroying most of the bromelain. Timing: eat it 15 to 20 minutes before your protein-heavy meal. This gives the bromelain a chance to prime your digestive system and prepare it to receive protein. Combination for even better absorption: sprinkle a dash of black pepper or pear with a slice of kiwi, which contains a complementary enzyme called actinidin. This enzyme synergy further enhances protein breakdown. One powerful side benefit: bromelain is also strongly anti-inflammatory. It helps calm down the chronic joint inflammation that often accompanies muscle loss. So you're not just digesting better, you're hurting less, which allows you to move more, further stimulating muscle growth. That's what we call a positive muscle-building loop. A quick warning: pineapple does contain natural sugar. That's why the timing is critical. If eaten before a protein meal and ideally earlier in the day, the blood sugar spike is minimal, and the metabolic boost from improved amino acid delivery far outweighs any downside. On the other hand, avoid eating pineapple alone, especially in the evening or as a late-night snack. That's when insulin sensitivity drops and the sugars are more likely to be stored as fat. If you've made it this far and you're getting value from these deeper, science-rooted explanations, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next protocol. I post content like this daily to help you stay strong, lean, and metabolically sharp using nutrition, lifestyle, and smart physiology, not pharmaceuticals. Key takeaway for Fruit Hash 4. Pineapple isn't just a tasty tropical fruit, it's a digestive catalyst that helps your body actually use the protein you eat to rebuild muscle. Think of it as turning on your internal protein conversion factory, so every bite you take works for your muscles, not against them. The 5th fruit on our list doesn't work by feeding your muscles directly. It works by protecting them from something that destroys muscle tissue faster than almost anything else: chronically elevated cortisol. When stress hormones stay high, Even low-grade stress from inflammation, poor sleep, or blood sugar spikes. Your body goes into a catabolic state, literally breaking down muscle for fuel. The fruit that helps turn off that muscle-eating stress chemistry? Tart cherries. Particularly Montmorency tart cherries, which are rich in a group of compounds called proanthocyanins and melatonin precursors. These work through two key mechanisms proven to preserve lean muscle tissue. First, they significantly lower cortisol levels, not by acting as a sedative, but by supporting the adrenal glands and helping your body re-establish its natural cortisol rhythm. High in the morning, low in the evening. This is critical because if cortisol stays elevated overnight, it blocks growth hormone, your main muscle rebuilding signal during sleep. Second, tart cherries naturally boost melatonin production, which improves deep, restorative sleep. And remember, muscle isn't built in the gym. It's built while you sleep. Without that high-quality melatonin-driven sleep, your muscles simply can't regenerate, no matter how much protein you're eating. Let me explain this with a simple whiteboard analogy. Imagine cortisol as a demolition crew tearing down an old building, and melatonin as the construction crew trying to build a new one. If the demolition crew never clocks out, the builders never get a chance. Tart cherries act like a manager that tells the demolition team when to stop, allowing construction to finally begin. Here is how to use tart cherries strategically to protect and rebuild muscle. Timing: consume 4 to 6 ounces of tart cherry juice, or half cup of whole fruits in tart cherries, about 1 hour before bed. This timing supports your natural drop in cortisol and rise in melatonin. Form: choose unsweetened concentrate or fruits and tart cherries, not sweet cherry juice, which spikes blood sugar. Look for Montmorency on the label. Upgrade tip: add a pinch of magnesium glycinate powder, or take it alongside a magnesium-rich evening snack like pumpkin seeds. Magnesium works synergistically to relax the nervous system and enhance melatonin receptors. What does the science say? A 2020 randomized clinical trial published in Nutrients found that adults over 60 who consumed tart cherry juice for just 14 days had a 25% reduction in nighttime cortisol, slept significantly longer and deeper, and improved muscle recovery by over 30% without doing any additional exercise. That's like flipping your muscle protection switch back on simply by leveraging your own biology. Important tip: if you struggle with nighttime urination, a common issue after 60, have your tart cherries 30 to 45 minutes earlier in the evening, and stop fluids 30 minutes after. This still gives you the cortisol melatonin benefits while reducing sleep interruptions. Key takeaway from Fruit Hash 5 Tart Cherries: protect your muscle by fixing your hormonal timing. They calm cortisol, boost melatonin, and create the perfect internal environment for overnight muscle repair. Think of this as shielding your muscle, so your efforts during the day aren't being undone at night. The sixth and final fruit on our list does something truly remarkable. It doesn't just protect or preserve existing muscle, it actually activates your body's muscle satellite cells, the rare stem cell-like cells responsible for growing new muscle tissue, even in old age. The fruit: pomegranate. Pomegranates are rich in a unique compound called L-glutamins, which your gut bacteria convert into a metabolite known as urolithin A. This molecule has stunned researchers in the field of aging biology because it stimulates a process called mitophagy, essentially your body's way of clearing out old, damaged mitochondria and replacing them with new, youthful ones. Think of it as muscle rejuvenation from the inside out. Here's what's really going on. Inside your aging muscles, mitochondria become dysfunctional, slowing energy production and making it harder for your satellite cells to wake up and repair damaged fibers. Urolithin A acts like a reset button for those cells. By clearing away mitochondrial junk, it creates space for new, highly efficient power plants, giving your satellite cells the energy needed to rebuild and regenerate muscle. Let me give you a simple analogy. Imagine your muscle-building crew is trying to repair a damaged room, but the room is filled with old, broken machinery, damaged mitochondria. They can't work. Urolithin A is like a cleanup crew that removes all the useless machines so the builders can finally enter and do their job. That's how pomegranate helps reactivate muscle growth at any age. Here's Suts. How to use pomegranate effectively for muscle regeneration. Form fresh pomegranate arils. The red seeds are best. Pomegranate juice is acceptable only if unsweetened and cold pressed. Portion half cup of arils 3 to 4 times per week is enough to elevate urolithin A in older adults, according to a groundbreaking study published in Nature Medicine. Timing with a meal that contains healthy fats like olives, wild salmon, or chia seeds. L-tannins are fat-soluble, which means they absorb better when eaten with a source of fat. Advanced tip: to really amplify results, combine pomegranate with a 12 to 14 hour overnight fast. Fasting increases baseline mitophagy, and the pomegranate compounds then accelerate it, creating a synergistic effect for mitochondrial renewal. One thing to understand: not everyone naturally converts L-tannins into urolithin A equally. It depends on your gut microbiome. So if you've taken a lot of antibiotics in the past, or have poor gut health, you may benefit from pairing pomegranate with probiotic-rich foods like sauerkraut, kefir, or kimchi to support microbial populations that carry out the conversion. Clinical results are astonishing. Older adults consuming pomegranate extract with mild exercise built more muscle, had better endurance, and displayed a nearly 60% increase in satellite cell activation, compared to exercise alone, even after the age of 70. So remember this key takeaway: pomegranate is not just an antioxidant superfruit. It's a cellular rejuvenator, helping your body create new muscle tissue by activating the very stem cell-like systems that we're shutting down with age. Let's quickly recap what we've uncovered today because, as you now know, rebuilding muscle after 60 is not about simply eating more protein or lifting heavier weights. It's about understanding your body at the cellular level and using food strategically to flip your internal muscle building switches back on. We began with berries, rich in anthocyanins, to fight oxidative stress and activate muscle repair stem cells. Then we moved to avocado, a powerhouse fruit that restores your mitochondrial engines, increasing the energy production necessary for muscle growth. Grapefruit came next, a metabolic primer that improves insulin sensitivity, so nutrients are actually delivered into muscle, not stored as fat. Pineapple works like a digestive enzyme booster, ensuring the protein you eat is fully broken down and absorbed. Tart cherries reduce cortisol and support deeper sleep, creating the hormonal environment required for overnight muscle repair. And finally, pomegranate, with its L-tannins, helps renew your mitochondria and reactivate your muscle satellite cells, actually allowing you to grow new tissue well into your 70s and beyond. Here's why this matters. Healthy aging is not about avoiding disease. It's about staying strong, mobile, and independent. Your muscles are the very foundation of that independence. Lose them, and everything becomes harder: walking, thinking, balancing blood sugar, burning fat, healing. Keep them, and your body functions like a younger machine, full of energy, powerful metabolism, and resilience against stress and illness. Now, what I want to challenge you to do is simple: choose just one of these fruit-based muscle protocols and start it today. Maybe it's adding Tart cherry juice before bed, or swapping your usual sugary snack for half a cup of berries with almond butter. Then track how your body responds: energy, digestion, sleep, and strength. You'll be surprised how quickly your biology starts moving in the right direction, not because you forced it, but because you're finally working with your body instead of against it. If you found this valuable and want more science-backed, root-cause tools to optimize your health naturally, from insulin and liver function to hormones, mitochondria, and fasting, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. I post videos like this every single day to help you stay strong, sharp, and in control of your future, without relying on medication. Remember, muscle isn't lost because of age. It's lost because of signal failure. Start sending the right signals today, and watch your body begin to rebuild itself, one healthy choice at a time.